Hey everyone, it's time for a Friday update. Just checking in with you guys. It was good to see several of you today on our optional Zoom. I just had a few comments from the discussion board that I noticed this week, and we will get ready to turn in our first power draft next week. So the first comment I wanted to mention is just making sure everybody understood that there was a lot of humor in the reading that we did this week. So basically what Lamont is trying to say is that it's a myth that people are just naturally good writers and that they pour out a really good first draft. It's very rare to do that. Good writers go through the writing process, and it's as simple as that. So just make sure you know that she has a lot of humor. It's supposed to be a humorous piece, so don't worry about her mental health or anything like that. But yes, writers struggle. Writers they have a difficult time, just like everyone else. So I noticed that in the discussion board this week, most people responded that they were surprised that professional writers still struggle with the writing process and that their first drafts are not perfect. So that's really important to remember, that if you're expecting yourself to craft a perfect first draft, you should probably give yourself a little more credit and lower that expectation, because even professional writers have to go through multiple drafts. So I did want to talk about what I mean by multiple drafts. A lot of times people don't understand what that means. So we're not saying you write a draft and then scrap it and start a new draft and scrap it and start a new draft to write multiple drafts, although that might be the process. But what that simply means is that you get a down draft down, and then after that, you get some feedback from someone, or you go through, you do a round of revision. It might include making some big cuts or big changes or adding information, moving things around. And then that's considered kind of your second draft. Then you take that same piece and you continue maybe to shape it up again and again. And that's what we mean by multiple drafts. It's not necessarily you had one and then you started over with a new one. It's more about just the process of going through revision to create big changes in your writing. So keep that in mind too. You've got to save time to be able to do that. So my suggestion is you get your down draft down by this weekend. I know some people are in different places in the writing process, but that's my best suggestion for you, because next week is really about revision. So a lot of you, it sounds like you just need to force yourself to write. So force yourself to write. I talked about this a little bit today during the Zoom and on some discussion boards, but you definitely want to get that down draft down. Take Lamont's advice. It won't be perfect, but you're not going to be able to shape it up if you don't. And if you continue to put yourself in a cycle where you're not successful, guess what'll happen? You'll continue that process. So a lot of people wait. They have that writer's block. They refuse to let themselves just get down a first draft, even if it's bad. And so they end up maybe writing it the night before and turning it in and not feeling like it's their best work. And then, the next writing assignment comes and they do the same thing again. And so they feel bad about themselves as a writer. So you want to avoid that, right? So next week, again, we're focused on revision and feedback. At the end of next week, your first power draft is due, along with a reflection, and your reflection counts as your writing to learn assignment for the week. There is a form for that you fill out. You will put that in the same Dropbox as your power draft. And also along with that, I just want to remind you, you should now be checking off everything on your final grade rubric. Again, it would be a huge headache to have to do that all at the end of the semester. All right, so I hope you all have a great weekend, and keep working on those drafts. Get ready for getting some feedback next week. Be thinking about who you're going to ask to read your draft. Several people have been to the Writing Center, which is wonderful. So I suggest that would be a great place to start getting feedback. So just go easy on yourself, get that down draft down, and reach out if you have any questions.